Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats. And yeah, as you already know, we're doing a theme week, and the theme this week is The End is Nigh. I am really stocked up. Oh my god. What are we going to do? I gotta get out of here! I gotta get out of here! Yeah, sorry about that. I kind of screwed up there. It turns out the end isn't really nigh. Um, yeah. So anyway, the movie that I'm going to review today is, well, you kind of know pretty much if you've been watching the reviews for this past week. A lot of the movies are inspired by the work of Lovecraft, and the movie that I'm reviewing today, you already know what it is by the title. The movie that I'm reviewing today is not much of anything different, but it is a great film, and yeah, this is a movie. Oh my God! Of all the John Carpenter movies, this, don't get me wrong, okay, that sounded bad. It sounds like, am I upset that the thing got a 4K release? Am I upset that Halloween got a 4K release, or The Fog? Of course not. I'm so glad those movies got 4K releases. But this is one that I really, really am hoping that we are going to get a 4K release, hopefully before the year is out. And that is In the Mouth of Madness. This is from 1995, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's 1995. And yeah, this is an amazing movie. Like, I have to tell you that, that's kind of the thing, though. This is going to be a little bit of a tricky one to review because, what really am I going to say about it that hasn't already been said? Everybody already knows this movie. Everybody's already seen this movie. There's not really too much I could say about it that hasn't already been said, but, the story definitely, this is definitely an apocalyptic film. This is actually, you already know, you guys are John Carpenter fans, same as me, so we all know that, John Carpenter had what he called the Apocalypse Trilogy, was started with his remake of The Thing, and then the second part was Prince of Darkness. Sorry, I'm washing dishes right now. But yeah, it was started off with The Thing, then the second one was Prince of Darkness, and then it culminated with this movie here, and wow, just wow, this movie's so awesome. The story definitely is about the end of the world, but it's kind of strange the way that it comes about. The story, is about John Trent, who's a detective, played by Sam Neill. And I really like Sam Neill in this movie. Sam Neill's one of those actors, he tends to rub people the wrong way. I've always liked him. Like, I can remember, for example, my mother, she never liked him. Like back in the day when he was doing movies like Possession or Final Conflict or something like that, she never liked him. She didn't like him until Jurassic Park. It was the moment in Jurassic Park when the girl says, he left us, and he says, but that's not what I'm going to do. And that was the moment that pretty much he won her over. And then she kind of started to ease up on him, and she started to become more of a little bit more of a Sam Neill fan. But I've always liked him. I've always thought he was a good actor. But anyway, he plays John Trent, and he's an insurance investigator, and he's very, very good at detecting frauds, like people who want to file false insurance claims and things like this, and he busts them, and then he turns around and his partner Bernie Casey tells him that this writer named Sutter Kane, who is becoming the most read author in the world. His books are selling more and more. They're talking about his books are actually outselling the Bible. Saying like he outsells every horror writer that's ever lived. He's outsold Poe. He's outsold Stephen King. He's outsold them all. And this, he went missing. And they want the publishing company that publishes King's books. They want to talk about filing an insurance claim. So he goes and he talks to the owner of the publishing company, Jackson Harglow, played by the late Charlton Heston, and he talks about all we want is just all we want is just our property. If he and we just want to know where he is, what happened to him, and everything else. And so he's introduced to Linda Stiles, who's played by Julie Carmen, who everybody will remember from Friday Night Part 2. She was Jerry Dandridge's sister in Friday Night Part 2. So he starts looking into it. Trent, he starts looking into it and stuff. And then one thing, he goes into this bookstore and he buys like all these paperbacks of Kane's books, and all kinds of crazy things. People are acting insane, and people are starting to kill each other, and things like this. And at one point, this man comes up to him. He's got like blood coming out of his eyes. He's like, "I can see," and Trent's like, "Okay," and he's like, "He sees you," and Trent's like, "Great, tell him I say hi." And then he starts getting the books, but he starts noticing, like riots are breaking out, and it really is turning into an apocalypse. And but he's not really concerned about that. He's more concerned about finding out what happened to this author, and getting his job done. So he goes and he starts reading the books, and he starts seeing things. He starts seeing really horrifying imagery. Definitely, definitely Lovecraft type imagery. Like things that that are there that shouldn't be there, and like nothing is as it seems, and a person who looked normal one second now looks monstrous, and things like that, and so, but he's reading the books and everything, but then he finds out, it's like, wait a minute, he's looking at the cover of the paperbacks, and then he starts like cutting them up, and he's able to put together basically like a puzzle. He puts these pieces together from the paperback covers, and he finds out that there's this town called Hobbs End that definitely a popular name if definitely associated with Lovecraft. But so Trent says, okay, it's like, it turns out this is actually it's a real town in a real state. I think it was New Hampshire, they said. And so he's like, but he takes them to task, Harglow and Linda Style. He takes them to task. He's like, I can go find your author, but I want to know, do you really want me to go find him? Because I'm kind of starting to wonder here if you're filing a false claim and all this stuff. And they're like, hey, we just want our property if he's dead or whatever and stuff. So, and so Harglow's like, I assume you got nothing to hide either. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send Miss Styles with you, and she's going to help you out. And so the two of them, they go together and stuff. And there are a couple of funny moments, a little bit of witty banter before it really starts getting heavy. And then as they approach, this town of Hobbs End, both Linda and John, they're noticing strange things. Things are not really what they seem, and it's almost like they go into an alternate dimension. As they're driving, Linda's driving across this covered bridge, and it really is like going through a portal into another dimension, which, if you read the works of, Lovecraft, he's always talked about that, dimensions and other worlds and things like this. And so they end up in this, this other world, which is basically Hobbs End. And so they're looking around, and of course the place it's very creepy. One thing I will say, what's beautiful about this movie is the atmosphere, the sense of dread just coming into, this movie is so uncomfortable, but in a good way. Just the, just the way the town looks and everything. And there's like little creepy things around every corner, like paintings on a wall that, you could slowly see the image is kind of morphing into something sinister, or you see like an axe, like, chopped into a block of wood. At first it doesn't look too menacing, but then when the camera, shifts focus to it, you see it's covered in blood and all this other kind of stuff. So they go into, they go to this inn, and, they're talking about, okay, they need to go and look around, see if they can find Kane. And they go, they talk about a church because there's a church written in Kane's books. And so they go and they find this church, and it's described, and that's the thing, like Styles being the editor of Kane's work, she's putting it all together. Trent, he's just kind of being he's kind of being more the skeptic and everything, and he's not really like buying into any of this kind of stuff. He just thinks it's whatever. Yeah, they're just pulling my strings. They're trying to pull my chain. They're pulling a stunt here and all this stuff. But as it goes on, Styles, she's becoming even more freaked out. And then, they go to this church, and they find out that actually Kane is holed up inside this church. And it turns out the people in the town, the kind of evil in this town that Kane kind of brought to it, they took it, it took their children, and they want their children back and all this kind of stuff. And so Trent, he goes along, and, he's, he and Styles, they separate, and Styles, she catches up with Kane, and he's able to basically, um, I guess convert her would be the best word, convert her into his evil and everything. And so the two of them, and then Trent, he's trying to get her out of the town, and all this. He's trying to get her out of the town, and then he meets with Kane, and then it turns out that Kane has, basically he has a plan for Trent. So you think Trent is going to be killed, but no, it turns out that Kane has a plan for him, because it turns out that Kane had just finished his new book, and then he's like, this book, once people read it, this is the one that's going to basically tip the scales, and everything, the whole world's going to go topsy turvy. Everything good is going to be evil, and there's no chance for humanity, and the world is going to be taken over by monsters and other beings and Lovecraftian creatures and things like this. And so it's Trent is like trying to stop it and everything. And I do forget, you got a hell of a cast in here. Not just Sam Neill, Julie Carmen, Charlton Heston, but you also got Bernie Casey. You got who else? Oh, Jurgen Prochnow, John Glover. Let's see, who else was there? Let's see. If you look, there's actually there's a quick little cameo by young Anakin Skywalker. You can see Hayden Christensen riding. He plays a paper boy. He's riding on a bicycle. He's got the car in the spoke and everything. So yeah, you got young Anakin Skywalker in here. Who else? Oh God, I'm trying to think. Oh, what's his name? David Warner. That's who I was trying to think of. The late great David Warner. And as a matter of fact, at the beginning of the movie, Trent is put into an insane asylum, and Warner is the psychiatrist going in to talk to him and stuff, and and all, and so he's telling him the story and all this, and one part was kind of cool, kind of creepy, is when David Warner, he's talking about, people read this book and it's just going to get worse, and everybody's going to transform into monsters and evil and chaos, and Cthulhu pretty much rising, and the world is coming to an end and stuff, and he's all like, well, what about the people who don't read? And then he's all like, there's always a movie coming out, so, but anyway, yeah, I think I've said more than enough here, but I don't really know if I've given away too much, but I mean, let's face it, like I said, I think, pretty much everybody's seen this movie, and it's amazing, it's fantastic, it's, it's almost a perfect horror film, I can't really, I mean, somebody better than me would have to sit here and pick this apart, because I can't really find too much wrong with it. Just the acting is great, the cinematography is great, the movie is so gorgeous the way it's shot. This is one of Carpenter's films. Watching this again, preparing for this video, I was like, man, I cannot wait to see, like, so far, just about every one of Carpenter's movies have looked phenomenal on 4K, and I cannot wait to see this beauty get the 4K treatment. But, the writing is good, Carpenter's score is always amazing. The theme, the cool guitar theme that he's got, it's like, oh man. So, of course, I mean, yeah, I totally recommend In the Mouth of Madness. It's an amazing movie, and there's not really much more I can say about it. It's just, and like I said, what else can I say? Everybody already knows this movie, so that's it. So, yeah, you got my 2 cents. Definitely, first chance you get, if you haven't seen it, watch In the Mouth of Madness. It's amazing. So that's it. So, if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, would you please leave it a like? And if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to the BodyBags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. We have a different bunch of guys. Everybody's doing great stuff, and I'm really happy to be a part of this group. I'm happy to be here and happy that they have me. And that's it. So everybody, take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.